Welcome to the Sleepy C and Big B Show.
Hey everyone, this is Sleepy C and
Big D.
With episode 6, kicking it off today, we're going to dive right into the shit that is public restrooms. You know, we've all been in shitty bathrooms. I mean, that's no pun intended, in all sincerity. Shitty bathrooms, right?
Shitty is shitty?
Yeah, shitty as shitty gets. Something that just, I think that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't know if have we touched on pet peeves yet? I know
we haven't
talked about a couple of them.
Just pet peeves of your wording and your favorite words to use, circa, supposedly.
It's supposedly is how I like to say it,
right.
But supposedly is
I
how
assume,
it should be said.
Or back to, or as I was saying,
yeah, I got
popping.
I have a few phrases that I like to use. We're gonna start making slogans and shirts and things, I think.
The drinking game still stands.
I mean, it's just an option. If you recognize that I say circa a relative amount of times, by all means, go for it. But what we're here for today is the real grimy shit that is public restrooms. And like I said, everyone's been there, right? We've all been in there where you go in and literally you feel like you come out with like Hep C. Just is it worth it? Like, I'd almost rather piss myself sometimes than just
it'd probably
deal
be
with
cleaner
that.
sometimes.
It probably would be. I mean, sterile.
Yeah.
You know, at least then I know, and I also know where it's coming from. There's no question about it. I don't have to, wonder about what type of stranger was there before me. It can be really stressful. I get real anxious even just thinking about it now. But what about you? For you, it's got to be a completely different story. Not to say that you don't know what a shitty bathroom looks like, but you're a dude. You can just,
And that's the sad part, that I even feel bad going in there and like, dude, you've pissed all over the seat. It's got a hinge. Pick it up.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. But then, like you've seen, it's the seat.
And then you have
the back of the seat, the front of the seat, the floor.
Everywhere. It's like that Daddy Daycare movie where the kid, he's all, I missed.
Right.
And there's just piss everywhere. That's how I feel. Like, it's like going into a cave, kind of. You know how there's like stalactites or stalagmites. I'm not sure which ones come from the ground and go up and which ones come from the ceiling and go down. I'm not a fucking scientist. It's fine.
That's a geologist.
Well, whatever. Neither here nor there. That being said... It's like always just,
count
it's
number one.
Damp in there. That is count number one. That being said, that's a good one.
That's two.
It's always damp. You don't know what moisture is. I mean, it could be piss all over the place. It could just be water that's being splashed around if the person before you wash their hands. That's another disturbing thing. Being in the stall and hearing that people aren't washing their hands after they're finishing. Oh my God. Let me just reiterate, it feels like you're leaving some public restrooms. It feels like you're walking out of there with just diseases. I mean, and again, for those of you that can't see me, I'm not very tall. There is this process that us as females, or to not single anybody out or what have you, anybody who sits down to use the restroom, for anybody who has to,
yeah,
it's a terrifying
neutral
experience.
Gender show.
Yeah, neutral gender. We want to make sure
we're all going to sit down from now on.
Yeah, so everyone just sit down. It's probably
make it easier that way.
Less room for error.
This will stop happening.
Yeah, maybe that's the course that we need to take. But I mean, it's not going to be followed, I'm sure.
No.
Usually, it's pretty offensive when you tell someone who, even though they have a flailing penis problem while they're trying to pee. If you tell them to sit down, they're not crazy about it. Turns out.
Yeah.
I have tried that. Like, hey, dude, maybe you should not stand up because you can't aim.
Too small, just can't reach.
Whatever the case is.
Who knows?
Whatever the case is, no judgment.
Well, we're assuming that it's men. That's the other part.
That's another factor. I will say this.
Maybe the hovering thing is someone's not very good at it.
I was just going to say it could also be from that. I've been witness to, not the actual act of, but coming in after females being in the restroom, and it can be pretty rough, and it's disturbing. I'm just like, what were you doing in here? What were you doing in here? Or what's worse, by the way, in case you weren't prepared, we are going to be talking about some shit also. If you're not down for that, I would probably just skip this episode. I'm not sure. But shit, I've seen it just on the back of the toilet. How does that happen? You're just a real fucking asshole if you do stuff like that. I don't get it.
Just didn't make it in time.
Where, I guess, or you ran to it or something.
Maybe
and
they
then,
slipped on the piss.
And then I guess that is a possibility. But if they're seated, how?
Yeah, well, you know.
For the record, anybody that's concerned about my process, I do a wipe down with toilet paper, and then I double ass gasket the seat. That's done intentionally to avoid any possible... I know what everyone says. Oh, you can't get anything from the toilet. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, except for just that fucking gross feeling of germs and other piss touching you or something.
You can't get anything from the toilet. Then what's the point of the gasket?
Well, it's
That's
just...
not
it's
true.
Peace of mind. But people say that. Yeah, people are like, oh, you can't get anything from it because porcelain's non-porous. I don't give a shit. Except for when I'm in the bathroom and I would like to shit. But
bodily fluids
I don't
all
care
over
what
it. I
people
think
say.
you can catch something.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't care what people say. Oh, it's fine. It's not fine. I also usually have to put some of those ass gaskets on the ground because for those of you if you're a dude and you're sitting down for number 2, or like we said, if that's your fancy, if you sit down to avoid spraying everywhere, that's cool. Thanks. Good looking out.
Right.
But if you are doing that, and for the ladies out there, when your pants go down, they're going to be sitting in urine unless you put something down on the ground.
The pants on the ground, the back of the front of the seat.
Like the balance it takes to do all that and remain squatting, if you're tall enough to do so. Some of us aren't. Mm-hmm. Some of us have longer torsos than they do legs, like me. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I've learned to live with this. But like I said, I don't understand what happens in there.
Yeah, it's like, just because. Well, hope it's not the same at home. Hopefully it's just a public thing.
And I think that has to be
maybe they're
right?
nervous. They just want to get in, get out. What happens. Aim for the sink, and they end up over there. Who knows?
But that's
they're used to a urinal. Has to be it, right? A urinal.
You have to hope that these people aren't doing these things at home. Like who the fuck else is cleaning up after that?
Right.
I mean, it's if they spray and they hit the bowl itself, and it kind of just dribbles down the front of the fucking toilet, and then there's a puddle at the bottom, and it's staining, and it smells like piss. It's just gross, gross. I could go on for hours about that, but. Something else I wanted to mention that is in regards to the porcelain. From what I understand, flushing the toilet, it creates such a high volume of pressure or what have you.
Yeah.
And that's shooting bacteria up out of there.
Yeah, the courtesy flush is a terrible thing for you.
It's terrible, especially if you are courtesy flushing. Good point. Because typically if you're courtesy flushing, you're still in process.
Exactly.
You don't get up off the toilet to do it.
No.
So your ass
That's more than a rush of cold air.
Yeah, your Netherland regions are just being
bombarded,
doused.
Yeah.
Think about that. Let that sink in. I mean, don't let it sink in, but
make sure you wipe it off.
You're being doused.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point too. Wiping. Isn't that a weird thing?
Side to side, right?
We side to side. Yes, actually, a smearing.
Yeah.
But toilet paper is really weird, I think. I think just wiping. I've had this conversation with my wife actually, but just wiping around shit with a piece of paper, it just seems real weird to me. I've recently, within the last year or so, I've become very attached to the flushable wipes. You can't actually though flush those. I don't think.
You're not supposed to.
I mean, I don't recommend it. Is what I'm implying. God forbid if that stuff backs up. I mean, that's serious numbers.
Yeah.
I recommend a couple of wipes with the toilet paper, and then a finalizing wipe with the what do you call it? Just the flushable wipes. But throw that in the garbage.
Yeah.
Again, just a recommendation, because think about it. You're just wiping around shit.
The Demolition Man. Are you a fan of?
Can't say
Wesley
that I'm like
Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, I think I've seen it.
They go into the future, and
I've seen it, but
they don't know how to use the 3 clamshells.
What's the 3 clamshells?
They don't. There's no toilet paper. They use these 3 clamshells that apparently, yeah.
Oh no.
So,
I'm not privy to that, but
right.
I've heard some interesting ways of ridding the.
The bidets.
Yes, basically. Well, there's bidets, and then sometimes you just need to use other substances, like if there's no TP around.
Mm-hmm. Shower curtain.
My dad told me one time that he had to use a sock.
Yeah.
He totally forgot when he went to Mexico. Sometimes you have to pay for the toilet paper before you go to the bathroom, and he forgot. Got in there, and I mean, once you're in there, you're in there, right? He was having some stomach problems, I think, and
It's Mexico. So.
yeah. So he went in there in a hastened fashion, and forgot to pay for the toilet paper ahead of time, and sometimes that happens. But he's a quick thinker, and was like, "What do I have that's accessible that I don't necessarily need?" Socks. Socks it is. So, in case you're wondering, socks will get the job done if you're in a pickle. But again, recommendation on those wipes. I mean, who doesn't like that cleanliness? It's 2018. I hear people are eating weird things, so keep it clean for everybody, right? Surprisingly enough, the DMV, even with all its upsets, and even with all the positive things I did mention about it too, one thing I will say is that the bathroom was surprisingly fair.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, it was nothing to blow your hair back or anything like that, but it wasn't horrible. I wasn't standing in piss while I was trying to pee, so that's pretty cool.
Was that one just a women's or men's only? Was it a
they had
gender
separate
neutral?
No, they had separate male and female bathrooms.
Okay.
I guess they haven't made the upgrades yet to 2018.
They haven't made the jump yet.
Yeah. People were freaking out because they started calling some bathrooms, and some places they call them family bathrooms.
Yes.
And people were freaking out about that, but it's like, that's really just a unisex bathroom, which, again, I know, like, now that's all the rage. Like, I don't want to be...
No, the family one is the whole family can go in. So, like, when you have mom bringing in little Billy.
Right.
Things like that, yeah.
And that's the thing, is, like, to be honest, whenever we take our nephew out to public, like, places, and we have to go to the bathroom, I take him into the women's restroom. I'm not going to fucking send a 5-year-old into the men's bathroom by himself.
Right.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
That's what the family one's for.
Well, right, and that's my point, is that there never needed to be a family one before. I never, it's not like I took him into bathrooms and people were like, what are you doing bringing a man in here? Mm-hmm. They all know he's a fucking boy and he needs to stay with the adult that he's with.
Yeah.
And if the only adult around is a female, he's going in the fucking women's restroom. I'm not going to take him into the man's restroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's my point, is it doesn't need to be qualified as a family restroom. I mean, wherever you fucking take your kid in to go to the bathroom, that's going to be where the family is at. And vice versa. If it's a man taking the kid into the boys' bathroom, that's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's not like this is only an adult's bathroom or something. Right. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But the whole thing of it being a unisex bathroom, or it having to say, like... what is it? What does it actually say? What do they want it to say now?
Gender neutral.
Gender neutral. I don't even think they wanted
unisex.
to say that. I think the word
unisex,
is unisex,
yeah.
right? That's the word they wanted to be phrased as. But what's crazy is that's not like it's an uncommon thing. Like we had restrooms when I used to work at a Chevron, and we had 2 bathrooms, and they weren't designated one or the other.
Yeah.
And that's just what it was. It wasn't like, oh my God, now we have to put a sign up that says unisex specifically. I mean, it just was what it was.
Right.
And I guess I just don't understand the need for that extra explanation. It's almost like you're going out of your way to put it in people's face, like a vegan person or something.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say it's probably just so that specific that, women are the only ones using this one, and men are the only ones using this one.
I mean,
obviously,
and as much as I get like the need for it, so you want it to be unisex and you want everyone to be able to use it. To be honest, I think it works better with it being separate, so then we know who the fuck is being a disgusting piece of shit when they go in there and they spray down the whole back of the toilet. Because I'm gonna say I'm a little gender biased in the fact that men are a little bit sloppy with the fucking fire hose. Okay. You guys just get in there. And I say this because I do have a nephew that is going through the stage of peeing, and they get to a comfortability.
Yeah.
Where now it's like he wants to bullshit with you while he's peeing. And it's like, no, dude, we don't have time for
concentrate.
that. Pay attention. focus.
Aim for a target.
Yeah. Let me throw some Cheerios in there, whatever we need to do. But don't, and maybe that's the case. I don't know if that same mentality goes, because I didn't grow up as a man. So there's a whole world of fundamentalism that I don't even understand.
To hear that.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you guys go through a whole different thing. It's a matter of, I know there's a certain manliness about, pissing standing up. Not only is it a manliness, but it's something to truly be jealous of. I think as a woman, if we had that would be a whole new world of things.
Well, yeah.
Just because you guys are ready to go anytime. Like, if you have to go somewhere, you can go anywhere you want, except for don't go near a child's playground, because you could be deemed a pedophile.
Right.
So be careful with that. Just a warning to any listeners.
Again, another life lesson for today.
Yeah, I try to be, helpful in that sense.
But the bathrooms,
but
yeah.
the ums, that'll stick.
The ums will be there. Those are your silent pauses.
But another tip of advice for those of you that
bring a mop,
that are disgusted by the bathrooms that you have to go into publicly. Say you're on the road and you stop at a rest stop or anything like that. I know
those
personally,
are actually very well maintained lately.
The rest stops
Yeah.
are great. If you hit any of them on the way, we hit sometimes we'll stop on the way to my dad's house. He lives in Visalia. It's a little bit past Fresno. Or a little bit before. I don't even know. I'm directionally challenged.
Right, for you to...
But on the way there or on the way up to Oregon, we'll stop a few times, and they're always super nice. Yeah. I will say that for sure. Their whole setup there, all the
so
they have
like
a dog
the
area.
whole government thing just kind of turned themselves around.
Yeah, they did. I will say their bathrooms are maintained.
Yeah.
That's one thing for sure. But I will say that if you don't have the availability to just stop off in a scenario like that, Chevron is what I would recommend. And that's not just me. Also, Chevron for your gas, in case you're wondering, is a recommendation.
All right.
That's all I use. But if you're going to stop for restroom needs, they typically always have a bathroom available, unless it's a small shack-style Chevron that they have. Like, how they have just an island.
Right. In
piece.
the middle of the thing.
Yeah, kind of like how Safeways is set up the street. They just have like a little island shack. And you can go in and pay or whatever. Just a little.
Got it. So I'm glad our listeners will be able to know about the Chevron up the street.
Well, I'm talking about the Safeway up the street, for example.
Yeah, the Safeway
but
up the street,
most
correct.
Chevrons, unless it is an island of sorts, they will have a restroom that's accessible to customers,
right,
publicly, and that also on top of that
is clean.
That they will be cleaned because they are like mandated. They have to be cleaned hourly. At least that's how it was when I worked for a Chevron. And every Chevron that I've ever encountered, the bathrooms are typically really, really clean. I've only had maybe one or two situations where I probably just got the short end of the stick and I happened to walk in there at the half-hour mark or something. And
right.
Nobody had been in there in a while. So
it's like 5 minutes till clean up and you walked in at the
And
spot.
I happened to be there, yeah. But even then, it wasn't that bad. I'm a big stickler on bathroom cleanliness as far as, especially if you're going to be in a public place, especially if you're going to have people of all different walks of life coming in and out of there.
Yeah.
I understand people have different scenarios, from what I've been told.
Scenarios, aim.
Yeah, aim, skill.
Anything.
Body size, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what factors play into being a slob while using the bathroom, shitting on part of the toilet or pissing down the front of it. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, I know that chevrons typically take care of that on the top of the hour, every hour.
Well.
I know that, like I said, I worked at, there goes one, like I said. I worked at a Chevron, and we had to sign off hourly every check.
Right.
And we had to show that there was somebody that checked the bathroom every hour. We had to sign off
Well,
sheet.
good information. Good to know.
Yeah, so in case you're traveling, I would stick to chevrons for bathroom usage.
Rest stop,
and for your gasoline
Rest
purposes.
stop or gas station chevron.
Yeah, and they typically have the best snacks, really. Am I advocating for Chevron? Maybe. We could use some gas cards over here.
Hey, I mean, add it to the list. Against sponsors.
Any sponsors, I really am a big fan of the Chevron cars. They smile. Anything that you can...
they use Tektron, right?
What's the word?
Tektron.
Personification of animals or, vehicles, anything. I like
That's
that
happy.
shit. I like that
And
shit.
they're always happy.
Yeah. Something about it, I don't know if it takes me back to being a kid or something, but it just fills me with a little bit of joy.
The opposite of going to DMV.
Yes, complete opposite. Unless you're only there to visit the restroom, in which case you might have a good experience.
Great. All right, so now you got your plug-in for Chevron and the hourly gas station cleaning. And you worked at a Chevron? Is that how you knew this?
Yes, I worked at a Chevron for about 3.5 years, I think, overall.
Well, you actually did restaurant work, right?
Yeah,
So
before that.
what was their routine? Was someone always in charge of bathrooms, or did you have to do a chart, or somebody was, you got picked because you were the last one hired? Well, how's that work?
It basically was run off of seniority mainly. We'd have people that were supposed to go check the bathrooms. But realistically, it's everybody's job. I mean, at a place like that, originally I worked at a pizza place, and at small family-owned restaurants like that, that's what you do. Everybody has to actually kick in. And I mean, if it was a big issue, we'd usually have specific people that were responsible for that, mainly because they were more, I want to say skilled, but I don't really know if it's skillful to have to plunge out shit. Kind of like on Deuce Bigalow, Man Bigalow, where he's like, gets the fucking goldfish out, right? But in a sense, there is like, you have to kind of know your way around a toilet bowl, I guess. But I've done minor repairs, but nothing.
Repairs.
Yeah, Well, I mean, as far as not just upkeep, but like like with our own bathroom, like I know we, and again, minor. Like I replaced the fucking handle not too long ago.
Well, at least it's your own bathroom, so it was clean out.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is there's a comfort behind it, and I feel like that was something too when I was working at the restaurant. Like whenever I would clean the bathroom, like I knew it would be the clean. You know what I mean? When it's clean,
right?
And that's awesome. That's like a different feeling, like because then you can go in there comfortably and shit or pee or what I mean, and it's good. There's no possibilities that there might be lingering shit smeared on the seat because you just cleaned it.
So for me, the horror of horrors, and I've got to think that, as a woman, you guys are devastated by the porta potty.
Tuh.
The invention alone, having to go in there and hover over a bucket of shit is...
You've seen Hercules, I'm sure, no doubt, but indoor plumbing, it's gonna be big. Like, that is, in all seriousness, one of the best and truest lines. Like, it is big. Indoor plumbing is a huge thing. Then we have porta potties, which literally kicks us back like 800 years.
Nothing like 105-degree temperature in the summer, and you have to get in there
and you're hovering over literally just a hole in the ground filled with shit
that you can see it.
You can see it.
Looking at it.
You can smell it. It's hot. It's baking. There's flies. So many flies. It's, oh my god. Flies are the worst.
What do you guys do? I mean, you don't have a choice. It's like, do you try and use a little urinal thing that they put in there? Or do you go stepbrother style? Or
you do the best you can. For this I usually layer heavily. They typically don't have ass gaskets in porta potties.
Because there's not enough gaskets in the world that's going to save
that. Right. So I bundle up the single ply toilet paper that they provide in there usually. And I layer it like it's a fucking lasagna, okay? And I'm just putting down noodle spread all over, just layers upon layers, until I feel that it's at least slightly adequate to just do what I have to do. And then when I get home, I scrub myself.
Yeah,
and
with
not just
bleach,
not
Clorox,
even just my ass, but like my whole body
everything.
needs a cleaning after that.
You bring those sponges with the green scrub
like
stuff on the top.
Like a scouring pad. Yeah.
Steel wool.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's
I could imagine.
It's like on Me, Myself, and Irene when he's just like crying in the shower. Like,
right.
That's the feeling of it. It's a whole new level. Same thing like
it's the rape of a porta potty.
I haven't been. Yeah. I haven't been in a long time, but we used to go camping regularly up in Kennedy Meadows as a family, and my dad would always say, "You got to be the first one." He's all, I get up at 4:30, take my morning dump. That's what my dad would say. He goes, well, and I'm just like, gross, that's so early too. And my dad just goes, well, hun, you got to be up before the flies. If they're up, they're in your face. I mean, ugh, gross.
But concerts, things like that. What are you gonna do?
I usually try to hold out, unless of course I'm drinking that night. And I mean, what you gotta eventually break the seal. Eventually,
right?
Is it weird to say that I feel like I'm more comfortable now just peeing freely. Like, of course, you can't just pee super freely. You got to be careful, people. Watch out.
Hey, you mentioned about not peeing by a park.
Yeah, you don't want to pee by a park, or you don't want any indecent exposure complaints.
Always helping
like
out the listeners.
Yeah, well, just advice. It's just helpful.
It's
hints.
educational
hints
knowledge.
and tips.
Yeah. Speaking of, do you have any hints and tips for us?
Yeah, don't piss on yourself when you're trying to pee in a parking lot. As a female, obviously, guys, you got a pretty good tool there to literally just aim and point and shoot. You're good to go.
You'd think.
Yeah, you would think. Who knows? From the bathrooms I've seen, it's not that simple.
It's not working that well, right?
Yeah. But as a female, I can tell you from firsthand experience, it's pretty easy to pee on your clothes. Been there, learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
That being said, it is something that you should practice on, because boy, has that almost just ruined the night. I mean, like I said, it's worthy to think of the fact that you could probably just pee your pants and it'd be cleaner than using a porta potty or anything like that.
Any public restroom has got to be dirtier than peeing yourself.
Than peeing on your own self.
Yeah, at least you know where it's been.
Yeah, exactly. It's your urine. And maybe you had a jellyfish sting you on that same day.
I was just going to say, at least you'll save yourself from a jellyfish sting.
Yes, and then you're fine. It's no big deal.
Are you okay with peeing on your wife to save her from a jellyfish sting?
Oh, I would do it in a second. Although, just a quick fact, I heard that's not even true. I heard the peeing on it, I heard that's not a real thing.
Well, she is our fact checker. Let's make a note about that.
That's a real bitch, because they showed it on Friends that's what you're supposed to do.
No, I thought it was true.
Fact checker, if we could...
why she's checking that? What about air blowers? I know you were mentioning about the air blowers and how that's not a thing. Or no, it is a thing?
I guess, and I mean, this may be something we'll have to look into also, but from my understanding, me personally, when it comes down to hand dryers versus the towels, I know we're supposed to be, thinking about the earth, and I try to do that in other aspects of my life, but I'm going to use a fucking paper towel or 6. Mainly because I need at least 3 to get my hands dry, and not damp dry, because that's just promoting more possible germs. But then also a couple to open the fucking door that other people have touched without washing their hands.
And that's my thing. Is like, why do they put the doors with the handle when you have to touch it? How many people don't wash their hands? Or, as you taught us, you need to. Another announcement here. CPC has mentioned to us and found that you need to wash your hands for 15 to 20 seconds minimum
to get rid of most of the major germs. Turns out only about 5% of people actually
5%
do that.
People.
5%.
5%.
Most people don't even wash their hands after.
That's terrible.
And
that's the one that goes straight for the candy bowl.
Yeah, the candy bowl, or they're reaching into the chicken bowl.
The community thing.
Or they're touching their phone and then they hand it to you.
Dirtiest place is the bar of peanuts.
Oh, God. Ooh. What was that on? They did that on Along Came Polly, and he's like, "Oh, don't touch it. Yeah,
right.
Don't touch it." And she's just like, "What? These?"
Huh?
And he almost puked in his mouth.
Yeah.
That's how I feel also.
Yeah.
Open foods at like bar settings. To be honest, some things like that, like even at house settings, I'm like, it's someone could make a very lucrative living off of that alone. Just from the appetizers being, getting food poisoning or anything like that. It's just. Ugh.
You don't know what the double dip.
Oh God, double dipping.
Let's not get in there.
Are you familiar with that Seinfeld episode?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah.
You double dip the chip.
That's it.
You don't do that. Just like you wash your fucking hands, and that's that. Make it the rest of your day, just for the rest of your life. Just wash your hands after you pee or shit.
15 to 20 seconds.
15 to 20 seconds. In mild, warm water would be great, but I'm not going to push for that. I just really want you to wash your hands.
Right, and don't use the air blower, because as you were saying...
Oh, yes. It's, in my opinion, from what I've understood, it's like a breeding ground for bacteria.
I saw a little Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. You did see that?
Oh,
okay,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So the moisture in the bathroom and the heat at which that dryer gets to, it starts kicking out heat, it's basically a fucking breeding ground for just all sorts of bacteria. So then when you go and
incubator.
Hit it... Yeah, it's just... hosting all these parasites. Yeah. You hit that button to turn it on, and it blows it onto your fucking hands.
Yep.
All that shit. That's probably my biggest push for. I know we're supposed to be environmental friendly, but use a fucking couple paper towels. Don't spread that shit around. Or if you're gonna use the hand blower, fucking use your sleeve to open that door. Damn it. Try and do something. I saw recently where is it? It's this, it's a restaurant, I think, where I want to say it's Chick-fil-A, honestly, but they have like a door handle that is where it's perfect, where you can, it's kind of like a hook instead, so you can hook your arm in and pull it open.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, living in the fucking future. That shit I like.
Right? Do we have a fact?
Oh, we are confirming. Oh, here it is. All right, so this is word for word on a fact or fiction page here. It says, unfortunately, in the real world, treating a jellyfish sting by urinating on it may actually cause someone in Monica's, that's a Friends reference if you're not getting it, actually cause someone in Monica's situation even more pain rather than relief. Urine can actually aggravate the jellyfish's stingers into releasing more venom. This cure is indeed fiction. So there you have it. Urinating on the jellyfish sting, probably not the best idea.
So feel
unless
free,
you don't like that person. Do it.
Feel free to piss on your friend.
Yeah.
And
just for a good laugh.
Pretend you didn't know this part.
Just sell it hard with the Friends option. Just be like, look, Monica tried to get Chandler to do it. Turns out he wouldn't do it. She pissed on herself.
Right.
Do it, dude.
Yeah.
If you can get them to piss on themselves, that's even more impressive, I think.
Right. Hey, I understand that it's good for jellyfish sting, but you need to pee on yourself.
I'm just gonna start recommending it for all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna be like, hey, dude, did you hear that urine's great for your facial skin? Like, it's great for acne. And see how many people I can get to start just pissing on their face.
Right. Yeah. It's probably a whole new trend.
That's gonna be a new challenge. That's gonna be something that I push for.
Then the other fun fact that we learned about the cleanest stall in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, tell us.
The closest to the front door is the cleanest stall because it's the least used.
I would never suspect that.
No, but
I would think that's the first
psychology
place.
in it that you don't want people to hear you going to the bathroom, so you don't go to the first stall because it's nearest the door.
So people are nervous about their pee and shit sounds?
Yes.
So they skip the first one.
They skip the first one because it's usually the closest to the door, and it's 5 to 6 feet from the door, and then they go to the second or third. Usually they'll go to the last one.
Oddly
and the
enough,
last one's the worst one.
First off, the last one's usually the handicap one, which is weird because it's furthest from the door.
Yeah.
Kind of opposite of the
Right.
handicap needs, but whatever. And then also they're taking up the space of some bathroom that a handicap person can use. But anyways, I would say it's so weird because I usually skip the first one, not because I'm fearful of somebody hearing me shit. That's not a fear anymore. That's not it was once in my life, but not anymore. Now I'm like, do you want to play battle shits? And, we'll see if anybody hollers back. If they do, game on. But that being said, I usually skip the first one thinking that most people use it. So I think that, but here this whole time, turns out that's not even true. I should start using the first stall.
Yeah, the cleanest of all.
That's awesome.
So everyone likes their own aroma.
Everyone likes their own brand. That's real, right? I mean, yeah. That's why people do Dutch ovens and shit like that, right? They're just
there's
like,
gotta be...
I'm cool with my beef.
There's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just do it to do it.
It's like a little bit of narcissism, I think. Like
a little bit or a lot.
Like, my shit don't stink, and it does.
Guess what? It's not roses.
Yeah, as much as everyone wants to imply that it doesn't, there's always a little bit, right?
There's always going to be some.
I mean, maybe it's not as bad as like a young toddler's shit when they're going through it. That is a whole other thing.
You tell me why it comes out green.
Ugh.
And talk about your public restroom nightmare.
But that's supposed to be all natural.
Yeah, it probably is all natural. It's all the preservatives and stuff that get rid of the coloring.
Yeah.
Well,
makes
now
it
that
brown.
Right. Well, now that we've learned our lesson about the public restroom and where not to go, stay away from the porta potties. Strengthen your legs up so that you can maintain the hover. Bring a mop with you. I don't know what other insightful news we can share on this topic.
I'm gonna end it with also just be careful because record yearly, about 40,000 Americans, maybe that has something to do with it, but about 40,000 Americans injure themselves on and or around a toilet. So
lazy
be careful.
Americans.
Be careful.
Is it the obesity or just the laziness?
I think they're slipping in piss and hitting themselves on the porcelain bowl.
There it is. The bowl you don't want to be the closest to.
Just a theory. It's a throne, but, keep it clean.
Keep it clean.